G'day everyone, Aussie Starcraft here. Hope you're ready and raring for some sweet Starcraft 2 action as we kick off this weekend, bringing you another game from the Fragbite Masters that took place a few weeks ago. Bottom right hand corner is our red Terran player. It's going to be Liquid Bunny. The top left hand player, also from TeamLiquid, it's going to be Snute. Now, I think you're pretty familiar with both these players. I've cast a lot of both Bunny and Snute here on the channel. One of the reasons for that, I really enjoy watching them play both against each other and against other professional players. I just enjoy both their playstyles, particularly Snute at the moment. I think he's fantastic, certainly one of the better foreign Zerg players out there, and just really excited to see what they have in store for us today. Always like casting Zerg vs Terran games. They're always very dynamic, lots of action going on around the place, and I'm hoping this game will be no exception. For those of you who aren't aware, actually have Red Bull Battlegrounds on as well this weekend, so if you haven't seen that or checked out any of the action, feel free to, I think you can link straight to it from the usual WCS broadcast page, so feel free to check it out. I think they kick off at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, looks like Snoot's going to go for a hatch before pool here. I think his worker will head down any moment. We can start to see him banking up those minerals. Looks like we have a fairly standard sort of opening from Liquid Bunny. It should be a Reaper first. Either a Reaper or a very quick factory. Whenever you see the Terran player grabbing his refinery this early, it's generally indicative that we'll see either a Reaper or a quick factory. And quick factories, lots of options for those, things like those very quick Hellions. Alternatively, it can be something like a Banshee Rush. So a lot of different openings, but certainly for Terran at the moment, this gas first opening very popular. We can see that Snoot's gone for that expansion, spawning pool being thrown down just behind it, so it's not the greediest 3 hatch before pool that we have seen from a few Zerg players, but it's just not as common against Terran players as it is against Protoss. You'll sometimes see Zerg players on large maps do 3 hatch before pool, but against Terran players, particularly Terran that do like to open gas first, which is most Terran in the current environment, you'll see very quick Hellions, and that third base becomes very difficult to actually use or mine from. The Hellions, until you've got the creep spread down there, very hard to clean them up with just queens, particularly without the creep being spread right to the base. So most Zerg players tend to open a hatch, then pool, and look to grab that third a little bit later on against Terran opponents. My apologies for that. It appears someone's trying to break into my neighbour's car, so a little bit of an alarm going off there. Hopefully, of course, it's still in the driveway when we go to check. But talking of checking things out, so Overlord just going for a scout, not actually getting a whole lot of intel. If we actually go to Snoote's vision, he's had a nice run through the main base. All he's seen is the barracks and the start of this factory, so knows most of what's going on. Hasn't spotted the expansion as of yet, but can probably assume that from the timing of things. Reaper on the ramp, just going to be ensuring that no drone scouts make their way in. This second Reaper going to make his way up. Snute already ready here with the Queen. This stand's pretty well mapped out by Zerg and Terran players alike. The Reaper, of course, wants to get off as much scouting information as possible. Doesn't expect to really get any drone kills, but in the event that he can, always worthwhile. Any damage, indirect or otherwise, then get very worthwhile. Almost lost the Reaper there, pinned between the mineral patch. A quick reaction from Snute. Unfortunately for Snute, Bunny was able to sneak out that gap, get off a nice scout, spot things like the Zergling speed, and make his way out safely. So you never want to lose that Reaper. Certainly a massive victory for the Zerg player if you do manage to clean up. We see the first Hellions being produced here as the natural expansion finishes up for Bunny. Have another cheeky Reaper plucking away at that Queen at the front. Unfortunately, there are no shortage of Queens on the field for Snute. Already 3 in play, and Snute does really like this sort of style. As you can see, he'd taken most of his workers out of that gas for some time, just putting them back in now, and use that extra mineral income to really buff his Queen production. So 3 on the field, 2 more to come. He's going to have quite impressive creep spread. This Overlord going to be chased away by our hero Marine here. Unfortunately, minigun or not, he's not going to be able to reach it as it flies over those glaciers. Second Overlord in a nice position on the high ground here. Going to spot a lot of Terran units as they move out to harass, particularly as we see the Hellions and Reapers making their way towards the Zerg's third base. Now this is the ideal sort of timing for a Zerg player. Wants to already have the hatch under construction, but not try to be mining when this harassment comes by, because these Hellions and Reapers will do massive damage to the drone line. So if this third hatch had gone down earlier, it would actually be being denied right now by this harassment from Bunny. But as you can see, Snute safely constructing. The units can't actually do a whole lot of damage to structures unless there is a lot more of them, so it's quite safe for Snute to have thrown that down exactly when he did. Hellions and Reapers trying to poke in here, but 4 Queens going to make that very difficult. Nice Zergling counter attack here. The wall off almost completed here. Plenty of supply depots going down now. Along with that refinery, does block it off quite nicely. 4 Hellions as well is going to make it quite, 5 Hellions going to make it quite difficult for those Zerglings to do anything, and dropping that last supply depot at the very last minute. Actually losing one of those Reapers to the Queen, that's a little bit sloppy on Money's part. You'd generally like to keep those alive. A little bit of micro tends to do if you fall back behind the Hellions, and that allows the Reapers to recharge their health. But there's quite a substantial number of Hellions swinging around. As you can see, Snute's creep spread quite good, spreading out with those 2 extra Queens we've seen. Another Queen still on the way here. So continuing to produce those, always a great idea as these Hellions swing into the expansion. So drones are lining up here, some good opportunities for shots. But unfortunately the Zerglings and Queens getting massive around here, and not many of these units are going to make it out, if at all. And it looks like only a single Hellion will make it out of there. So very nice defense from Snute. They're using the Queens and the Zerglings to trap those units and bait them into the corner by pulling the drones over. So very nice maneuvering there. If we count the cost, we can see that 9 workers were killed by Bunny, but unfortunately did lose a lot of units to do it. 900 resources lost to the 600 of our Zerg player. So particularly when the Zerg player is up a base, at third base of Bunny only just going down now, it does make things a little bit difficult. A Zergling counter-attack as well is going to catch these workers out of position. We can see that Snute rallying them straight in. They're going to pluck off one of the transferring SCVs, and looks like Bunny's actually going to lose a lot of workers here for very little response. Hellions coming down to clean up, but Zerglings have already done their work. Another 8 workers have gone down. This Banshee in the natural expansion of Snute is going to town. That workers lost tab continuing to skyrocket. 17, 18 workers already. 19th one will go down. And these Banshees doing a lot of work here back and forth as they're plucking off and actually denying the mining here at the third for some time. The Spore Crawler just going down now is going to make it a lot harder for those cloaked Banshees, but we see that the resources lost tab equalised substantially from that Banshee harassment. So Snute being quite active here, and sorry, not Snute, Bunny being quite active here, and we see him actually, he's thrown down an additional 2 factories, which would normally be indicative of a mech style of play. But if we look, 2 engineering bays going down with the infantry upgrades going on, so a little bit of an interesting style from Bunny here, swapping into and out of mech and bio. So not a lot of mech upgrades have gone down. We have the +1 weapons finishing up. That'll make these Thors do a lot of damage versus Mutalisk, which, if you're wondering why he's going that direction, we actually have the added 3 or 4 barracks coming down now. So definitely going to be intentions for Bunny to go back to a bio style of play, but wants to ensure that he does have the production of these Thors. These Thors going straight for the mineral line, wants to ensure that a Mutalisk transition cannot do the damage that Snute would like, and as we can see, timing's impeccable. Mute is actually on the way now, along with a lot of Zerglings. So you can see Bunny's familiarity with Snute's playstyle really kicking in here. He's aware of a lot of Snute's timings, and he's actually going to be very well prepared for it. Going to have plenty of Thors in play, also going to have massive marine production kicking off any minute now. So these extra 4 barracks likely to all be with reactors, minus this one that's going to be that original tech lab. So get the stim going, probably combat shield as well. We actually have the +2 weapons upgrade for those Thors and Hellbats, and we also have the blue flame upgrade for the Hellions. Ooh, sneaky Baneling run by into the natural expansion. He's going to do a little bit of damage. Nice detonation there, kills a few SCVs. We see the workers lost tab is now 11 to 21. But lucky for Bunny, he'd positioned those Hellbats very well and preserved these much more valuable SCVs than the few mules that are sitting there from almost certain death. Mutalisk trying to have a poke. Unfortunately, there are a lot of static defense and Thors around. That's going to make it very difficult for those Mutalisks. But as we can see, Snute not very perturbed here at all. Oh, nice little try for a Hellbat drop. Unfortunately, Mutalisk will clean that up quite quickly. And we see Snute grabbing his 4th base. We see a massive tab worth of upgrades here for Bunny. We see him grabbing a little bit of everything, +2 weapons for his vehicles. We see the Infernal Pre-Ignites, we also see combat shields, and +2/+2 for those infantry. So we have massive marine production at the moment, 7 at a time with 1 Marauder and a few Hellbats. This Terran army production is starting to get quite insane. Unfortunately, the Thor has pulled away from this natural expansion, leaving it very vulnerable to these Mutalisks. There is a single missile turret, but going to deny that gas, which is always nice. Terran player, particularly a Terran player with a lot of mech units, is going to struggle for that gas income, as they don't tend to be mining gas in a lot of their bases until much later on in the game. In fact, you'll often see Terran players in a later game, particularly Terran players that go by, may not even mine gas at some of their expansions. So Bunny here setting up a very aggressive position on Snute's base. Got to be careful though, as this creep spread is quite insane. We see the Mutalisk and the Zergling Banelings moving into position here. The Thors may be able to do a lot of damage here. The infantry trying to swing back around. One Thor has been picked off. Second one now under fire here as a massive group of Zergling Banelings rolls in. They're going to be able to clean up all of these Terran units. And if we count the cost of that engagement, see relatively even for both our players. So not a bad exchange there, particularly as the Zerg player was fighting on creep. You'd really expect the Terran player to have lost a lot more than he did. The relatively even trades is certainly a bit of a godsend for Bunny, as he really can't afford to get behind. Now the Zerg player has gone up to 5 mining bases. As we can see, that middle base that was attacked there still standing, and going to be mining gas on those gas guys, which is all important for this heavy Mutalisk style of play. You see Snute getting quite cheeky, actually trying to take this base right behind Bunny's natural, which is a little bit of a dangerous base for him to mine. In fact, this sensor tower is going to pick up that is in fact there. We have a massive group of Marines moving out now, so plenty of Zerglings and Banelings being morphed in for Snute, as these supplies are relatively even. It's about 180 supply for both our players, +3 weapons coming up, and +2/+2 finishing up for those Marines very shortly. So plenty of missile turrets here to greet the Mutalisks, but there's an insane amount of Mutas. We see that we have almost 30 Mutalisks here. A few Marines going to be trimming that number down, but there is so many Mutalisks. Going to need a bit of static defense, and a Thor here probably wouldn't hurt. But of course, as these mineral patches get closer to being mined out, this base's value will diminish quite a bit. So Bunny, not wanting to invest too much, knows he needs that army supply, certainly knows he needs to keep this 4th base nice and safe, and even getting a Hellbat drop into the main base of Bunny. So it's always a nice little pickup, frying a few more workers. We see it's up to 29 workers killed. It's a little bit of harass, always won't, well, always, I mean, will never go astray, particularly from players that do have a heavy mech investment, as Bunny has had thus far in the game. It generally makes them a bit more static, so Hellbat drops are going to mix things up. Mutalisk swing in from the side here, going to be picking up these units very quick. The Thor does go down almost instantly, and nice thing that Snute focus fired that down, as we see these Mutalisks have actually lost a lot of health here. One more shot from that Thor would have done a massive damage here. And unfortunately for Snute, he can't actually fight this engagement. There are too many Marines here with that +2/+2 finished, +3 weapons for vehicles almost finished up now. But these Marines just too much of a threat for those Mutalisks while their health is regenerating. So that Thor managing to do the damage he needed, and Bunny looks like he'll establish his 4th base nice and safely. A massive flock of Mutalisks here. The potential for this to really get in and mess up Bunny's infrastructure. I think Snute does need to delay the production of Bunny. These upgrades and things, potential to snipe those with the Mutalisks. Unfortunately, Mutalisks are very busy trying to defend these bases. Lots of Zerglings and Banelings here trying to engage the Marines, but there's so many Marines. Luckily, 3-3 still not finished up for Bunny, but nevertheless, these Mutalisks take a lot of damage and be forced back yet again, though. Massive group of Banelings. These Marines are still on creep, but this is so dangerous for the Marines. Banelings connect, and lots of Marines going down there. Marines can't even turn to focus fire, as the Banelings is doing so much damage. The planetary fortress, doing a lot of damage though, and managing to keep a lot of those Banelings from connecting. We have a few roaches here, but plenty of SCVs repairing these reinforcements. Looks like they will force this back and save Bunny's 4th base. And can't overestimate I'm just getting a little tongue-tied this morning. Sorry guys, can't over-exaggerate just how important this fourth base is, with the second and third bases almost being mined out for Bunny. All important that he manages to hold on to this fifth base. We have creep making its way down both sides of this map. We have almost complete creep coverage on this map. Everything that's not directly being mined by Terran almost covered by creep. Now there's a very dangerous situation for Bunny to be in. It's going to be very hard for him to move out. These Mutalisks flying around, tempting fate, lots of them taking a lot of damage as they try to make their way around. Though we see him making a run at that production, knocking out one of the barracks. I think that's an excellent choice for Snute. The more damage he can do, the better. Focusing down that Thor very quickly will allow him to do some damage to the planetary, but unfortunately still unable to get it. These Thors forcing that Mutalisk flock away time and time again. They can afford to focus fire down one, but if they stay for even a second too long, 3-3 Marines and Thors will just destroy them. A few Marauders going to make their way into this base here. Lots of Mutalisks and Zerglings here to clean these up. Poor Marauders, looks like they'll be sacrificed gallantly. Another Thor does go down, but a second Thor here providing that punch to yet again drive the Mutalisks away. Zerglings and Banelings sitting away on this right flank, ready to engage at any moment. We see the Mutalisks able to clean up these high ground units again and again, trying to bait the Zerg into a fight. These Mutalisks have to be so careful. Well positioned Thor going to volley that every time they stray just a little bit too close, but plenty of Banelings morphing on this right hand side. Snute really trying to keep this fifth base alive. Unfortunately, there are so many Terran units here, a lot of Marines just waiting on the low ground. That Thor hot pickup from Bunny, nice positioning there. Unfortunately, it will get cleaned up by the Mutalisks, so the Mutalisks have taken a lot of damage, and this is the danger in trying to harass and defend with Mutalisks. Their health is so low, you have to be so very careful. There's no more Thors on the way just yet. There's 2 more in production, unfortunately, for Bunny. If he had another Thor up here, I think this base would most certainly go down. There's a lot of Banelings morphing in here. Looks like these poor Marines will get cleaned up with those connections. Some Marines from the low ground, though, managing to polish those off. Baneling focus fighter, Mutalisk and a Roach trying to clean these up. Fortunately, the rest of the Zerg army wrapping around. Looks like Bunny's force here may have bit off more than it can chew. These 3-3 Marines doing so much damage. The 3-3 for the Zerg not finished up yet, but these Banelings still getting some excellent connections. Unfortunately, the reinforcements from Bunny just streaming forward, and we see 8 Marines, a Marauder or 2 and some Thors at a time. We have another planetary being established in the bottom left hand corner, and things are starting to turn in favour of Bunny here. If we look at the units lost tab, we see it's definitely favouring Bunny now with a 5,000 resource advantage. Bunny's going to make a move over here to the right hand side of the base. 3-3 almost finished for our Zerg player, along with the chitinous plating for those Ultralists. There are still some Marauders and Thors on this field, so not sure just how effective those Ultralists are going to be. Going to have to be very careful. Massive Zerg counterattack here. Actually going to chase the Terran all the way back to this fourth base. Still a few Marines here in play, but not enough to do the damage needed. It looks like these Banelings could well be used to take out the planetary. It looks like Snute has thought better of that. Doesn't want to sacrifice those Banelings when this terrifying 3-3 Terran army is in play. Still no armor on the one armor on the vehicles, but the +3 weapons is the all-important upgrade there. Really does the damage to those Mutalisks. Every time they flock, they just take an obscene amount of damage from the Javelin missile launchers. A Zerg player finally taking his 6th base just off to the left of his natural. Unfortunately, this 5th base under fire again from Snute, just putting on the pressure. A few units here may well force the cancel. Queen coming up to try and transfuse, but it's just too much DPS, and the Terran army will deny that 5th base yet again. This expansion on the far right hand side looks like Bunny has set up a great position here. A few Marauders at the front to try and tank as many Baneling shots as possible. And these Thors just do so much damage to the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks cloud already on yellow and red health with some of those units. More Banelings trying to move in here. Thors behind. Bunny getting ready to pick up these Thors if necessary. Doesn't want to lose those to these Ultralists, but looks like the Ultralists will barrow through. Baneling's going to connect well with these Marines. They are on creep. The Marines just can't escape quick enough, and it looks like the Zerg army will completely push back the Terran forces. The last few Marines picked up in those medevacs and making a run for it. Unfortunately, this 5th base for Bunny just mining flat out. As you can see, no gas being taken, but full saturation on those mineral patches, all speed ahead. A drop in the main base getting cleaned up by that very happy Ultralist. Dinner time for him. He knows Marines are particularly delicious. Only thing he has to worry about are Thors and Marauders. But there's Zerg force barreling down the 5th base. They know it's here and mine. He knows he needs to shut this down. But unfortunately, there's just so many missile turrets. Just a complete ring of missile turrets to deny any sort of Mutalisk harass there. The Zergling's going to really struggle against the Planetary Fortress and the Ultralisk even more so. If you're wondering why the position of these missile turrets, one, there is a positioning that stops the Mutalisk missiles from actually bouncing between them if you position the towers just far enough apart. The second thing this ring of missile turrets does is make it very difficult for Ultralisk to actually engage. They get blocked by their own units as well as by the missile turrets, and really struggle to actually get into base-to-base contact with the Planetary Fortress, whereas there's plenty of room for the SCVs to surround it and heal it, so it can actually tank for days. So a nice, very fortified position here. We can see Bunny now opening the back door, getting ready to take that expansion that Snute's already mined a good deal of. But Bunny here starting to take what is a very commanding position in this game as the game goes up to the 30-minute mark. Is not common amongst a lot of these games from Fragbite Masters. We had a lot of very quick, very aggressive games. This poor Medevac's days are numbered here, trying to drop the Marines on the low ground, but so many Mutalisks will clean up both the Medevac and the Marines, and looks like that squad gave its life valiantly to try and harass, but well, it was to little avail. Snute managing to clean up quite quickly, but I think we're coming up to the decisive engagement here as both our players max out. Upgrades on full, plus 3 Zerg flyer attacks is on the way, but there's quite a terrifying Terran army that's barreling down here. Ultralisk, if it strays too close, will take a lot of damage from these siege tanks, and we can see that Bunny, he knows he's denied lots of base. He knows he just needs to force the Zerg player into an unfavourable engagement. Zerg player nowhere near the bank we're used to seeing from Zerg players. Oh, that Thor hot pickup, nice play there from Bunny, managing to preserve the Thor. Thor gets another kill, up to 7 kills on that Thor. These Ultralisks trying to engage the Marines and Marauders, kiting back with those Ultralisks just barreling forward. Siege Tank's going to do a lot of damage to them. Need to be super careful with these Ultralisks. They're so expensive. Marines firing. Ultralisks can kill Marines for days. Siege Tank's doing damage, but unfortunately Ultralisks still managing to make it through the Siege Tanks into the Marine Marauder line, but the last Ultralisk will go down. And unfortunately it's 180 supply to 120 Snute. Snute unfortunately not having the bank that Bunny has. Bunny, these expansions really kick in with that mining. It looks like Snute's going to lose yet another base here. Most of his bases have been mined out. Main, Natural, both mined out. Third base being harassed by this drop from Bunny. It looks like Bunny, our Terran player, is all over the map now, doing so much damage to Snute. Snute trying to clean these up as best he can. Mutalisk doing so much work for Snute, but looks like Snute may have to tap out there as Bunny takes the game. So what a dynamic Zerg versus Terran game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Two of my favourite TeamLiquid players going up against each other. Hope you guys got as much a kick out of it as I did. If this is your first time on the channel, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. We got plenty more Starcraft 2 action coming up just after this. We plan to do a review of the new map pool. It's just launched, and we're also going to take a look at some of the games from the Ace of Team Story Cup. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you geared up for some great Starcraft 2 action, because we got plenty more coming up right after this. Thanks, guys.